indigenous laws. Just then, in late 1956 and early 1957, he and 155 others were standing trial for treason, a trial covered faithfully in the black press day after day, month after month, and about which black South Africans were speaking incessantly at their kitchen tables. And if Nelson's public performances were growing increasingly famous, his private exploits were becoming less and less private. Among Nelson's colleagues and friends, it was no secret that he liked women and that they often liked him back. "I can't help it if the ladies take note of me," he told a biographer. "I'm not going to protest." His marriage to Evelyn Masse, with whom he had 3 children, was in ruins, and rumors about his love life were much discussed among his comrades, his legal colleagues, and his friends. And so if there was any man in South Africa hitting 40 and married who might turn his car around because he had glimpsed waiting at a bus stop a magnificent woman almost half his age, it was Nelson Mandela. Although he could not have known it, he and the girl on the side of the road were bound to meet, for Nomzamo Winnie Madikizela resided at the Helping Hand Club for Native Girls at 76 Hunt Street on the eastern side of town, and there she was becoming increasingly friendly with Adelaide Chukudu, fiancée of Oliver Tambo, Nelson's partner in the law firm Mandela and Tambo. One afternoon in early March 1957, it was pouring rain, as it often does in Johannesburg on summer afternoons, and hailing to boot. Adelaide, who did not fancy the prospect of making her way from work at Johannesburg's General Hospital to Park Station in such weather, phoned Oliver to ask for a ride. Barely had she and Oliver left the hospital than they spotted Winnie and another woman, Florence Dube, making their way to the station on foot. They invited the 2 women into the car. Adelaide announced that she was ravenously hungry, and so they stopped at a delicatessen on the side of the road. But as Oliver searched in vain for his wallet, it appeared that the 4 people in the car did not have a penny between them. And then, from the driver's seat, Oliver spotted the tall figure of Nelson in the delicatessen. He told Adelaide to get whatever she wanted and asked Nelson to pay. A few moments later, Adelaide emerged from the delicatessen with Nelson in tow. He peered through the car window, and there, on the back seat, was the woman he had glimpsed at the side of the road. Oliver introduced her as Winnie Madikizela from Bizana. "Oh, so she's a relative," Nelson said, for Oliver too was from Bizana. "Don't you know Winnie?" Oliver replied. "She's always dancing up and down the newspapers." For Winnie's beauty had caught the attention of Johannesburg's press, and her photographs had appeared in 2 widely read publications. The next day, Nelson phoned Winnie in her office. Would she have lunch with him? He asked. Years later, Winnie recalled being scared out of her wits. What did this famous man held in such godlike regard want with her? She was pretty, to be sure. She had been aware of that for a long time. But she was a nobody, desperately young and utterly unknown, her career hardly begun. She swallowed her fear and told him that she might indeed be available for lunch if they could find a suitable time. And so they agreed that on the coming Sunday, March 10th, she would be fetched from her hostel and taken to an Indian restaurant near Nelson's office. Winnie spent the period between the phone call and the date with Nelson in a state of high anxiety, she recalled. What should she say in response to his questions? And what questions might she possibly ask him? And, as she remembers it, the lunch itself did little to calm her, for she understood after just a few moments that she would have to share this man, even now, on their first date. No sooner had they sat down than a line of people formed at their table to talk to him. She looked on, silent and self-conscious. And just when the line evaporated and she and Nelson began to talk, a new ensemble would come to greet him. She felt she was an audience to a show in which she had no part. And, to make matters worse, she had never eaten spicy Indian cuisine. Her whole life she'd lived on the institutional food of boarding schools and women's hostels and on the stodgy meals prepared in her father's rural home. Her tongue burned whenever she put her fork in her mouth.